One of the most vital things about any presentation is that you're engaging your audience and that your audience is engaged. There's a few reasons why any audience may lose their engagement with the presenter. One is just that they're tired. It's been a long week. It's been an even longer day, and they may have sat through a number of different presentations. Or maybe they just didn't get enough sleep the night before. So what are a few of the strategies we can use to help us gather that audience's attention again? The first is simply to walk around. While we're walking around, we can continue talking. But as we come closer to the audience, they're going to realize, I better wake up. She might be paying attention, and she might be paying attention just to me. One of the other things that we can face as a presenter are distractions, and there are many of them. The one that we see most often perhaps these days are cell phones. So another strategy we can use is to ask a question. So Dave, what did you think of the last point I made?
I completely agree.
This helps the audience know that you may be calling on them and they really need to focus on what you're saying and what your presentation is about at that moment. So we have asking questions, and we also have simply walking around. Another tip, especially if the reason your audience is losing their engagement or they may seem a little bit uncomfortable, is because the topic that you're talking about could be a little serious. What if, as part of the weather service, you have to give a talk on harassment or bullying? It's not something that we really like to talk about all that much, and it can make people very uncomfortable. One of the ways that they could be signaling this to you is if they have their heads down and they start getting a tighter posture as they're sitting. They may cross their arms. A way to re-engage them, to gain their attention, and to make sure that they're participating in the discussion and taking home the points that you want to get across is to have a workshop. Have your audience, Dave, Brooke, I'd like you two to discuss how you would stop a bully in his tracks. So small workshops can also work wonders. If you find that many people in your audience are also really engaged in devices instead of in you, you can use that to your advantage, because some venues allow you to have interactive questions as part of your presentation. And people can use those devices that they're looking at anyway to answer questions that you may have for them, to take a poll or a survey during your presentation. Another tip or strategy during your presentation are to use props. Things that the audience really wants to look at and say, hey, how does that work? I haven't seen that before. New and interesting details help to pull people in. These are just a few of the tips and strategies to use if you need to deal with daydreamers and zombies.